Everybody, my name is Ramon Ray, founder of zoneofgenius.com. We're here at Zoholics, where I have a very, for me, it's a special treat to speak to the co-founder of Zoho. Tony, can you give us your full name and your role, which is brought at Zoho? Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Tony Thomas, and I'm a co-founder of Zoho.
Wonderful. So, Tony, what is Zoho? Beyond the speeds and feeds, I know Zoho has 55 applications, small business operating system. We know that. Started with CRM-ish and grown to many other applications. But can you just help us understand the company Zoho? What does that mean to you? It has a very distinct feel to it. Talk about that.
Certainly. So for me, Zoho is a technology company that continues to, find new ways to create jobs, create opportunities, and grow value for customers. So it's a combination of creating value for customers as well as giving our employees and all stakeholders better opportunities, better lives. So I see it as a kind of mission for the company to serve customers, at the same time give employees great opportunities.
Yeah. And I think I know the answer what I'm about to ask. I want to ask, is it hard to do that? Is there pressure? Every other company is going this way. You all have some pretty hard lines you seem focused on: privacy, customer data, treating people well, how you work. Your colleague Raju talks about we will fail towards success in a good way. All these things, this is so antithesis of some companies where they fire quick and profits first. So can you just help us understand how are you all able to do that in this client? Because many people would go against you.
Yes.
No,
certainly I totally understand companies having all kinds of pressures.
Right.
And certainly early in a company's journey, it's hard to even survive. Right?
Yes.
So I don't want to minimize the challenges companies face early in the journey. The probably genesis of the way we operate probably didn't come together on day one. It was
that's comforting to know that as a startup, you even evolve and iterate and figure things out.
Exactly. So it is a little bit of a process, and I credit Sridhar with having, sort of a interesting combination of impatience and patience, right? And so at some level, he used to have this saying of, take care of the downside and the upside will take care of itself.
Which is true, yeah.
So at some level, he drove us to run the company conservatively. And in the early days, we, obviously could have done many things. We could have spent money on many adventures, if you will. And so that caution allowed us to build a base from which we can operate in a way that is in line with the way we'd like to operate in the long term, which includes taking care of employees to, thinking long term, not be driven by short term pressures. And a big theme for us has always been look at the economics of what we do. Long term, you have to be able to, deliver value. And we'll survive not by being fashionable in the moment. It's about delivering long-term value for customers.
Yeah. Why do you keep saying this word, Tony? Value, value, value. You've said this word 3 or 4 times. Why is this? And again, you may have already answered it, but I just want to pull that out. Why is this word value so important? It seems to you personally and clearly, which is seeped into all that Zoho does. Why is this value so important? Is that personal experience? Is that just how you are? We're all made differently. Why is this value
good
important?
Question. I think the way to think about this is we've had, through conversations over the years and our own interests, economics is something we study closely.
Sure.
Right? And look at how businesses work, what is the underlying value and economics that drives them. And we often think about industries as going through various phases, or any new technology, any thing, and we want to be here in the long term. And we think value long term, sorry,
Those are good.
value long term is central to the success of any enterprise. So why is that? Because in the end, trends come and go, but as long as you're delivering consistent value to customers, you're you're going to be in business, right? And so the value element comes from that thinking, and that has been central to a lot of our strategy long term.
But if I can push back in a fun way,
Sure.
everybody wants to be around forever.
Yep.
Everybody does. But they still take short term, and it's more of a discussion. There's no answer.
Sure,
I'm just curious. Everybody wants to, right? I mean, I want to be a better father, but I still XYZ. Can you, so just to pull on that more, every company, every US company, that's my context, wants to be long term value.
Yeah.
So any thoughts on that? Everybody says that.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair point. I think, when you look at it from a, economic value point of view, not everybody has the patience or even the runway, as they call it in the startup
Sure,
world,
sure.
to think long term.
Yes.
Right? When you do have that opportunity, I recommend it to everybody.
To think long term.
Think
Yeah,
long
yeah.
term. But you're right. It's not
Yeah.
that we all have the patience or the, as you get older, it gets a little easier because
Sure,
you've
sure.
seen many things. And when you're younger, it's hard to be patient.
Yes.
It looks like you're missing the boat.
It's
and-
funny you said that. I was going to say, I'm 51 now, Tony. And I started to talk to my family and others, and they said, Dad, why are you crying more? Why are you sending these long emails? There's something about getting a bit older. My mind has shifted. So I don't know. I think it's
Totally,
so
totally.
important.
So I think that's part of it. Yes.
Yeah. One thing also that interesting to me is the aspect of debt. We've heard from Sridhar a lot, and so he said it, and clearly you agree. This aspect of debt, is it not true, Tony? You can take a debt of $10 and make a bet, and you make 100. Why not? You know what I'm saying, 10xing that, but why not? You don't have the money to open up your factory to buy Walmart gives you a big deal. The typical US store, you go to debt for $1 million to make the 5 million hats and sell it to Walmart. And maybe they cancel the order though, and you have a problem, maybe. But in general, we live off debt. Talk about this aspect of debt, Tony.
No, I think this is one of the fundamental lessons that a lot of us have trouble learning, and I would put myself in the same boat when I was younger. Is that it's hard to defer the rewards. Right? If you can enjoy something now, why not enjoy it now?
Famous marshmallow story.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
The marshmallow is a great example, right? It just tells you how if you're able to have the discipline to defer your consumption, it makes a huge difference. And the funny thing is, in so many markets, in so many situations, the people who defer that, end up, in a much better place than those that don't. And so that's a principle that, comes instinctively to some. And for people like me, it was harder to learn
Sure.
to do that. But now I fully appreciate the value of that and try to communicate that as often as possible, that this is the kind of thing that builds value, builds character, builds a lot of things that are, that we would all value.
Yeah, I love that. Two more things, if I can ask you, Tony. And again, I wish we had 6 hours more, but I got to wrap this up in about a minute or two. The partnership with you, Sridhar, others who, Vijay, I think, Raju, other people who've been there for a while, whatever the title may be. Can you just talk about that, the personal partnership that you'll have, and a tip for others, those who are listening right now who are in partnership? So any story and or a tip just about longevity together. I mean, you could. What if your partner you don't like them or whatever? Just talk about that a bit.
Yeah. Certainly, I think that's an important element. Sometimes you get lucky and you find people that you can talk to
Yes.
and connect with. It's not that you agree on everything.
Yes.
There's a mindset associated with it too. You have to come in with a mindset of you are going to, accept the differences of opinion. You're not going to, be too adamant about doing things a certain way. you have to be a little open in terms of the way you approach these things. If you get too stuck in your ways and too adamant, then it gets hard, right? So you're not going to agree on everything.
Yes, yes.
And ultimately, a shared mission helps a lot, right? If
I
you,
would say essential.
yes, essential.
I mean, it's
Yes.
yeah.
Good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is essential. That's what makes everything else much easier, right? So I'd say it's a bit of both. You do need that shared mission,
Yes.
and you do need the,
Yes.
some degree of,
Yes.
give and take
Of course, sure,
that's
sure.
required.
Like a marriage.
Yeah, yes.
One more question, and again, Tony, co-founder of one of the co-founders of Zoho. Thank you for being here. But I wanted to ask this earlier. Don't want to end on a low note, but can you talk about Zoho's early days and hard times? Zoho today, arguably, is a very successful company, and I'm happy for that. This is what you all have done, and you've kept your humility, though. But talk about any early days, any challenges, issues. Like Ramon, I remember one day we had to decide X. It's something, one or two big things, or maybe many
Yes,
that
yes.
you can remember. You tell
Oh,
us a story,
absolutely.
please.
I mean, life is full of challenges, and a business is no different.
Yes.
That you're constantly dealing with challenges, and when you're small, every challenge can be, almost life-threatening
That's right.
in
That's
terms
right.
of the business, right? So, we've gone through some significant challenges over the years, and in the early days, I can remember, the Japanese were a very good customer for us,
Yes.
and we were getting into some technology early, and they wanted to get onto it, and we got some nice, good customers there, good deals. One of the early ones, I remember, we were slow in delivering the product, and the company threatened to sue us, and
That's a
we
big
were
deal.
like a small company that,
Yes.
this was like
Yes.
a complete shock.
Yes.
But fortunately, one thing to remember is things are never as bad as they seem,
Yes.
and never as good as they seem either.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So you have to be a little even keeled about these things. And it turned out we were able to meet them and
Love it.
give them a sense of we're not neglecting this. We're solving some hard problems here,
Yes, yes.
and they were reasonable about it and were happy to have us deliver it on time. And they became a happy customer.
I love that.
But you go through those phases,
Yes,
it is a difficult
Sure.
period in the company.
I love it. Tony, thank you for being with us. And one more time, anything I didn't ask you, anything you wanted to say today before we go? And I hope I'm doing this so your team can give me more time with you next time. But
Sure,
anything
certainly.
else you wanted to add, Tony, that I didn't ask you? Didn't
No, I wanted to thank you for being a supporter of Zoho for many years.
Yes, indeed.
And it's been great seeing you at these events.
You made my day, Tony. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
It's a
Ramon.
pleasure to talk to you.
Good
Thank you
talking
so
to you.
much. Thank you.